Hi, friends. So, after Nadal's recent victory in the French Open, I think this question has been coming in everyone's mind that who is the greatest of all time? Now, in my previous videos, I've already mentioned that this is a quite subjective question because everybody has different factors uh, that have priority in their mind, and everybody has a different perspective. So it's really not possible for anyone to determine who is the greatest of all time. But still, today we'll be arguing in favor of Nadal, and in the upcoming videos, we'll also argue in favor of Federer as well as Djokovic. So in these videos, we'll be only comparing Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic, and try to determine who stands to be the greatest of all time between these three players. So today we are going to talk about Nadal, and all the points that I'm going to make would be in favor of Nadal. So I would also try to make the counterpoints in favor of Federer and Djokovic in the upcoming videos. So for this analysis, I have considered the 14 points I have mentioned here that you can see on the screen. So the Grand Slam titles, Masters 1000, ATP finals, these are the top three tournaments in tennis today. Then we have the overall number of titles, so that it also includes the 250s and 500s. Then we have Olympics, we have the number one ranking, the technical game, whether they have a specific weakness or whether they have variety in the game in terms of the different shots. Then we have versatility. So again, I think that's a very important factor in order to make sure that the player wins on all the surfaces. Then we have mental strength, we have fitness, then we have the USP impact. So USP impact is a factor that I've included as a personal barometer to determine the greatness. So USP here is the unique selling proposition, and its impact is what does this player has as a major weapon or as a unique weapon, and which is and how much impact it has on his overall success. So I think for Nadal we have forehand and his mental strength as the USP from my end. But of course, everybody has their own perspective, so you might have some different factors for Nadal. Then we have the head-to-head between Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic. Then we also have the fan favorite and the critic favorite points included. So we'll be talking about all these 14 points and see where Nadal stands today. We won't be comparing them to Federer and Djokovic because we'll do that at the end of the three videos. So maybe in the fourth video. So let's go ahead with the first point. So on the screen, you can see the number of Grand Slam titles. I think 20 is the number that Nadal just achieved, and that's why we have included 10 points here. Then we have the Masters 1000, so Nadal is standing up at 35, just behind Djokovic. Then we have the ATP finals. So interestingly or surprisingly, Nadal hasn't won an ATP final yet. He has been playing well in that tournament every year, but he hasn't been able to win that. I think Djokovic and Federer are the players who have dominated that tournament in the past years. Then we have the overall titles, which are 86 for Nadal, which and I've given 9 points. So these points that I have given are my personal opinion, as well as the priority is my personal opinion. So that is why I say that it's quite a subjective question because everybody has their different priority and different points. So I have also mentioned the top eight priority points. So it's coming down to 64 in my opinion, and we'll also do the same for Djokovic and Federer in the upcoming videos and try to determine where they stand as per my opinion. But you can use these points and maybe uh, calculate your specific points and your specific priority, and you can easily determine which is who is the greatest in your opinion and why. So then we have the mental strength. I think Nadal has 10 points out of 10 because I think he is the most strongest player mentally, just above Djokovic. And then we have two different points here in number 10 and number 11. So fitness and stamina are two different things. So fitness is regarding the ability to play consistently in all the tournaments and not be injured. I know it's not in the hands of the player, but still it's a factor. Then we have the stamina. So I think Nadal is always, good in the stamina. He's able to play five-set matches time and time again, and I think day in and day out, he's the best who has the best stamina. Then again, the USP impact that we saw in the previous slide. So for Nadal, it's the forehand and the mental strength. I think that is his most impactful USPs that he has got. So forehand, if you see clay or any other surface, I think his forehand is as deadly as it can be on any of the surfaces. And then his mental strength, I think, is the one that allows him to win matches even when he's not playing good. Then the head-to-head versus Federer and Djokovic. So I think he's much ahead of Federer, but with Djokovic, he is, I think, a little bit behind by 1 or 2 matches. So that's why we have given him 8 points. Now, the fan favorite and critic favorite, of course, we have given him 9 points, so he's just behind Nadal in terms of the critic favorite. The fans favorite is an arguable topic because, I mean, Nadal also has lot many fans. There's no set barometer to determine who is the fan favorite, because if you consider their social media influence or their charitable work, or there are a lot of factors to consider, but we cannot determine who is the fan favorite. So it's in my opinion, he ranks just behind Federer in terms of fan favoritism and critic favoritism. By critics, I mean the experts and the pundits and the former players uh, who have played this game and who have achieved a lot in this game. So this is my analysis, guys, and I think you can also do your same analysis based on these points and just determine how much you can calculate and how much you can prove that your favorite player is the greatest of all time. So in Nadal's favor, I think the most important point is his achievements. And I think with the Grand Slam number 20 that he achieved in the last month, it was a major factor, a major boost in his GOAT debate. Because I think whenever we discuss this with anybody, I think the first point that came into picture was the Grand Slam titles. And because Nadal was behind Federer, everybody said that until and unless he achieves that count of 20, it's I mean, majority of people won't believe that he's the greatest of all time, even though he has all the other accolades and all the other factors in his favor. So now that he has the Grand Slam titles to 20, I think people are more people are going towards Nadal in terms of the GOAT debate because he has the other records. I know when we see Federer, he's got a graceful game. He has got a class when he is at his peak on a hard court or on a grass court. It's almost impossible to beat him even for Nadal. But on the clay, the same goes with Nadal. On a clay, even if you are playing good, even if you're playing your best, it's almost impossible to beat Nadal. So I think that point is almost equalized now. Whether a player is graceful or good to watch, that's a different opinion. So even if a player is not that good to watch, or even if a player doesn't look great in terms of the picturesque shots that we're used to see from Federer, it doesn't mean that he's not the greatest. So I think greatest has to be counted in terms of the records as well as the game. And that is why I think Djokovic also is a very good contender, because even though the fan following for him is comparatively less than Federer and Nadal, but still I think his game is right up there, and maybe some people might even say that it's better than Federer's and Nadal's game. So I think that's an argument for the upcoming videos. But right now, I think Nadal, with this resume and all these factors, he seems to be well in contention for the GOAT debate, and he has all the factors in his favor. And talking about the main points, I think the head-to-head against Federer, because Federer is his main competitor in terms of the GOAT debate right now. So I think in that sense, Federer had, having a head-to-head record that is so good against Federer definitely helps Nadal. Then the complete clear dominance over Federer and Djokovic, I think is very good for Nadal, because even when Nadal hasn't played well, he has still been able to beat Federer and Djokovic on the French Open year after year. So I think that's a complete dominance. There is no shadow of a doubt there. And then the Grand Slam title count right now, which is equal to Federer, that also helps in Nadal's debate. Then the forehand and the mental strength. So previously, even I thought that Federer's forehand is the best in the game, but now that I have seen it over the 15 years, 20 years, of course, it's one of the best shots in the history of the sport. But the problem is there are sometimes, because it's such a risky shot that Federer plays, it's such a flat shot. It's on the days when it's not working, it's lethal even for Federer, and it becomes Federer's own enemy. So that is not the case with Nadal usually, because of course it's a different type of forehand. It has more spin, but I think it's more reliable than Federer's forehand. So Federer's forehand is more dangerous and more lethal, but Nadal's forehand is also dangerous, even though not as much dangerous as Federer's forehand. But then Nadal makes it up in terms of the reliability, because his forehand is much more reliable than Federer's. So even when Nadal is not playing well, his forehand, he won't make a lot of errors with the forehand. He will just hit the ball a little bit shorter, but still he will be able to control the point with his other shots, and he'll still be able to stay in the points and stay in the match. And I think that is what amounts to the reliability factor that Nadal has in his forehand shots. So that's why. And then the mental strength, everybody knows. I mean, uh, Federer and Djokovic, although is just behind Nadal in terms of mental strength, but we have never seen Nadal, break down on a court due to his emotions, as well as on important points. We always usually pick Nadal to play his best. We have seen in a number of tie breaks, in a number of important sets, important points, that Nadal always stays there and produces his best tennis most of the time. So that is why his mental strength is really of the top order. So, and then the Olympics gold. So that is a point, a unique point that Nadal has, that he has the Olympic gold medal to his name. He also has the Olympic gold in doubles. So I think that's a complete resume for him when he goes to the gold debate, as well as the comprehensive victory count against Federer and Djokovic. So Nadal has been able to beat both Federer and Djokovic more comprehensively, I think, over the years than the other two guys have beaten Nadal. Because if you compare on the clay, I mean, Nadal has been almost untouchable on clay in the French Open, whether it is against Federer or whether it is against Djokovic. There has been absolutely no competition or no doubt in anybody's mind that the rivalry is even close on that surface. And even on the other surfaces, when Nadal plays and Nadal is able to beat, so like for the from 2009 onwards till 2016, Nadal was able to beat Federer in almost all the Grand Slams that they played, and it was not a close match. I don't remember any close matches there. Of course, there were some four setters, but I think still the victory for Nadal was comprehensive against Federer. And even if you talk about Djokovic, when Nadal is playing well, he usually beats Djokovic comprehensively, even though that is not the same against Djokovic. So, and that is where I think the mental strength comes into picture, because even if Nadal is not playing well and Djokovic and Federer are playing well, still Nadal gives up a big fight and usually takes one or two sets, and maybe even gets to the fifth set tiebreak, or that much closeness in every match. So I think that is why his victories are more comprehensive. Then we talk about the consistency. So over the years, although Nadal has struggled with a few injuries, but whenever he has played, he has made sure that he has produced his best tennis consistently on every surface. I think you can count on Nadal. If he's playing in the tournament, if he looks a little bit fit, then he is going to give his 110%, and he's going to win as well. So even there are some players who give their 100%, but even then they end up losing the match. It's not the same case with Nadal. With Nadal, you know that the opponent has to play 100% for the complete duration of the match. Even if the opponent gives a slight chance, you know that Nadal will always be there and ready to take the chance and convert the defeat into victory as well. So, guys, this is the argument in Nadal's favor. I think it's a very strong argument. There are not much points that can go against Nadal in the GOAT debate. And in the upcoming video, we'll talk about Federer, and then we'll also talk about Djokovic. And then you guys can also do your own analysis and see which guy fits the best in the GOAT debate. So, thanks for watching.